Welcome to Foreign Policy presented by YTV Shows with me, your host Swecha Sangraula. On this show where we create a platform to think and talk about foreign policy from a holistic perspective. Foreign Policy is that show where we as individuals can create a voice and cause an impact on the decisions that affect us and the world. Nepal and People's Republic of Bangladesh have enjoyed excellent bilateral relations since 8 April 1972. Nepal was the seventh country to extend recognition to Bangladesh by establishing diplomatic relations since 1972. Ever since, the diplomatic relations between these two nations have been based on goodwill, mutual understanding, cooperation, and cordiality. Nepal-Bangladesh economic commercial relations have been growing increasingly to our mutual benefit. Exchanges have been taken place at people-to-people level, and there has been no looking back since. On today's episode, we have been graced by the honorable presence of Her Excellency, Ms. Mashfi bint Shams, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary, Embassy of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. Let's welcome her to the show. Welcome to the show, ma'am.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's an absolute honor to have you on our show. Let's begin by asking you how have you liked Nepal and the people of Nepal so far?
Oh, it's wonderful here because it's so comfortable. Nepal is so close to Bangladesh in so many ways, culturally, linguistically, and the people are so friendly. You feel that you're almost home.
Let's begin our conversation by asking about what shift in the foreign policy of Bangladesh have occurred after the unfortunate Rana Plaza incident. Has the country come up with revised priorities in terms of development and foreign policy?
Actually, foreign policy has not changed per se, because the country's foreign policy would remain the same. I mean, the basic national interests. But the Rana Plaza incident, which was very unfortunate, has brought into attention that the garment sector plays a huge role in Bangladesh. It's a very relatively new sector in the economy of Bangladesh. It started in the 1980s. There were only 50 garments factories at that time. And since then, there has been a phenomenal increase. We are now the second largest garments producer and exporter in the world. Last year, we exported $25 billion worth of garments internationally to markets mostly in the USA, the EU, Japan. And I think nobody in Bangladesh actually realized exactly how large it had become. Perhaps we still thought of it as a very small sector. So the Rana Plaza brought into sharp focus that there were many things that needed to be done, and many safety and health issues, workers' rights issues, on which there were some activities going on. The government was already aware, but finally, the owners, the buyers themselves, the international community, and of course the government all sat down together, and they have worked out certain initiatives to ensure better workers' working conditions.
So this has been more of a lesson learned, and you're not at all worried about the image that it cast upon Bangladesh as a nation in international arena?
Nobody likes this sort of incidents to happen. It's very unfortunate, and we were extremely disappointed, or saddened, should I say, that so many lives were lost. But more important than the image of the country internationally, I think the government took up the challenge to ensure that the working conditions would improve, that the factory owners would not get away with the lack of maintaining certain standards of working conditions. And together, there has been a tripartite agreement of the workers, the owners, and the government to put in place certain policies to ensure fire and building safety hazard-free areas. Bangladesh has been working with the ILO, with the European Union, and also with the USA. and several labor agreement, labor acts, labor standard acts have been they're working on improvement on those labor safety laws, and also working on making sure that there is, that people are actually following. I mean, all those rules were there, but there were violations. So the government is trying to make sure that those violations don't take place anymore.
It's absolutely important that the world take a lesson, and it could happen to the US, it could happen to Nepal. So it's a very important lesson learned. Taking it back to the economic relations and bilateral relations between Nepal and Bangladesh, the relations started in 1972 with formal recognition, but the agreements happened since 1976. So is the bilateral relation and economic diplomacy headed the right direction? What are your observations regarding that?
Yes, it's headed in absolutely the right direction. But our relations actually go back much further. I mean, it goes back thousands of years, because Buddhist pilgrims used to go to Bangladesh to study. There are Buddhist viharas in Bangladesh, and pilgrims from Bangladesh used to come to Lumbini. Atish Dipankar traveled via Nepal on his way to Tibet. And so relations have been there for centuries. There have been trade links. And even in 1971, when we were fighting the freedom, when we were doing the liberation war, the activists and the people of Nepal extended support to us. And in fact, last year, in 2012 and 2013, Bangladesh gave an honorary award to 11 Nepalese dignitaries as a recognition of the special role they have played in 1971 by providing support to us, moral and material support to us, because that meant a lot to us at that time. So relations, and that has established a rock-solid foundation for wonderful relations. And even during the BIMSTEC summit in Naypyidaw in Myanmar in March, our two prime ministers met. They had wonderful, bilateral talks, and they agreed at the highest political level to take the relationship forward. And trade has been increasing about 10 to 15% annually, which is a very good sign. And of course, there are issues of it could be better. There could be more trade facilitation, but we are working on them, and things are working in a positive direction.
Absolutely, a very positive note to start with. But it has also been said that the annual trade relations amount to less than $60 million a year, and there have been a lot of consultations happening about the double taxation agreements. What's the process like to make sure that these efforts are materialized? The idea of more trade relations and more zero tariff, reciprocity aspect of trade. How can it be materialized? Are we doing the right thing right now, Your Excellency?
Actually, the governments can only do so much. They can put in place a framework under which the private sector will have to do the actual business. The governments, there is a Commerce Secretary level consultation which takes place annually between our two countries, and there the Commerce Secretaries sit down and they discuss places where the trade blocks are existing, and then they try to remove them, and they discuss and try to remove them. We have been exchanging lists for duty-free access and also preferential duty access. That consultation is on. It's because it is not only between the commerce ministries of the two countries, but various other intergovernmental agencies are involved, like finance. Sometimes the national boards of revenues have a very different opinion from the commerce, and tariff commission comes in, and then there are issues of infrastructure development, for example, in the land ports. Then you have another department coming in, maybe the Department of Roads and Highways, or perhaps Department of Immigration for immigration facilities. Then the Home Ministry will come in. So it's all the agencies of the government have to work together. And it might seem to take a lot of time, but these consultations are on, both on your side and our side. And hopefully by the next Commerce Secretary level talks, which are scheduled to be in Dhaka, we will have a framework in place.
Your Excellency, we talk about principle of reciprocity in terms of trade, tourism and civil aviation. And the Foreign Minister of Bangladesh, Dipu Moni, has shown interest in the hydropower sector to meet the energy crisis in Bangladesh and also to spearhead the projects of hydropower in Nepal. These interests, how do you see the Bangladeshi interest in the hydropower sector? Is it something we could benefit as well, or has it been overestimated in a sense?
You see, Bangladesh is energy hungry. It's because of, the economic growth of Bangladesh is so high. It's going at 6.5% plus. We increasingly need more and more energy. The demand is outstripping the production. Right now we are producing 10,000 megawatts at present, plus 10,000 plus. But we are estimating that by 2020, our demand will be around 20,000 megawatts, and by 2030 it will be 40,000. So where are we going to get so much energy? Because right now we are exploring we have our own gas reserves, which are being depleted quite fast, but we have some gas-based in power plants. We have thermal power plants, we have coal-based power plants, we have fuel-based power plants. We are also importing power from India, from the western side. We are exploring how to, harness the hydropower capabilities of northeastern India also. There, we are planning to maybe initiate some sort of mechanism where we can buy power from the northeastern side of India also. Similarly, we are approaching Bhutan and Nepal, both of which have huge hydropower capacities, and we know that Nepal is right now in Nepal you have severe shortages of power, but eventually once you get over them, you have a capacity of production, and you have a huge potential, and we would like to help Nepal exploit that potential so that you benefit. We could invest in your hydropower sector, we could be equity partners, we could directly buy the power from you. Of course, India is there. India is a huge market for you, but Bangladesh is also another alternative market which you could explore. And there could be trilateral cooperation, there could be sub-regional cooperation. There's already a lot of discussion going on under SAARC and BIMSTEC. So all we're interested to harness all these regional groupings and bring it together in a way which is, of course, a win-win situation. Whatever we do with Nepal or any other country, it has to be a win-win situation. Both countries must benefit equally or equitably.
Indeed, Your Excellency. Allow me to steer this conversation to the aspect of foreign employment and remittance. 25% of our economy is based on remittance, and Bangladesh and Nepal are known for their labors abroad. The question is, how do we balance this idea of foreign employment, economic development, and also the safety and human rights compliance of these migrant workers? What kind of strategies should both countries adopt in this regard? Because we can't completely ignore this side of economy that happens.
Nepal and Bangladesh are already working together under the Colombo process, and under that, both of us are, I think, working together for, there's not only the responsibilities of the sending countries, but the receiving countries have certain obligations also. So we are working to put in place a certain framework for that. And then also we are working on, in the UN, various multilateral agencies, so that the migrant workers' rights are maintained. And the other area where we should be working together more closely is to ensure that wherever our people go, it is through a legal channel. That illegal trafficking is absolutely should be prohibited and should be enforced. without any, leniency at all. And both our countries, we do need, at present we do need to send out workers outside to work. They send remittance, and which plays a big role in our economic development. But eventually, I think we will have to start thinking of employment generation at home.
Absolutely.
So that more and more people find it more, financially beneficial to stay at home and work, and they don't have to go out.
So creating jobs locally should also be a priority,
Yes.
Which I think Nepalese government and Nepalese sectors can learn from. Let's talk about SAARC, the SAARC summit that is going to happen in Nepal this time. Do you think the role and the role of Nepal and Bangladesh, their faces, have they been somehow underestimated in this regional alliance? Do you see it anyway in that sense? Most officials in Nepal say that countries like these are often not taken seriously, but we've also made remarkable achievements in terms of Millennium Development Goals, and we've been taken as inspiration by many. From now on, will we be taken seriously, countries like us, Nepal and Bangladesh?
Personally, I always believe that a country will be taken seriously once it starts taking itself seriously. It has to have a certain self-confidence. And I think both Nepal and Bangladesh have developed a self-confidence, because if you will see our records in the UN, both of us are in the top. Bangladesh is the largest, I think. Nepal is either second or third, I think, in the list, in the peacekeeping troops missions. In the UN multilateral agencies, Nepal is the coordinator of the LDCs. If Nepal was not taken seriously, nobody would elect Nepal to be the coordinator of all the 46 LDCs. Bangladesh has been playing an equally important and a very active role in the multilateral area. So I think there is no need to think that countries don't take us seriously. It's I think sometimes it's a matter of public perception, and we need to inform our public also that, look, Bangladesh and Nepal, we are respected, we are doing good work. I sometimes see a tendency in the press or in our general psyche, I believe, that we like to be, in the name of self-criticism, we like to play down our positives and sort of highlight the negatives, which does not help. So we need to, of course, criticism of the government, criticism of faults will be there, but we also need to promote the good things that we are achieving, because then it helps our, build up national self-confidence.
But will this create a stronger regional alliance, like other regional alliances have made an impact, and there have been sayings that SAARC hasn't been able to do as much as it envisioned? Do you see that happening in the days to come as well, we being the same in terms of regional alliance?
Yes, SAARC has a lot of potential. You see, the countries of SAARC have all been going through changes. And we are, to a large extent, I think we are also, instead of blaming SAARC, I mean, the countries within the SAARC region have also been, all the countries have had to face challenges of, domestic challenges, economic, developmental, political. And I think once we get all these more or less sorted out, we will be in a position to sort of actively work together more. And then at that time, I think the potential of the regional cooperation will be felt by all of us. And actually, this is the second time that Nepal will be the SAARC chair. Last time, Nepal did a wonderful job, so we are very confident that Nepal will steer the chairmanship of SAARC successfully.
Your Excellency, that's a very positive note that we're going to end with. Before concluding, Your Excellency, is there any message that you would like to give out to our young audiences mostly, and people who are watching us right now?
I would just like to say that we consider Nepal to be one of our closest friends. We are, in Bangladesh we have many Nepalese students studying in Bangladesh, and we would be happy to welcome more. We welcome the people of Nepal, and we wish that the relationship, which is already at such a good level, it should be expanded and it should be strengthened in the years to come.
Thank you so much for being a part of the show, Your Excellency. It was an honor having you on the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
Geographically, what separates Nepal and Bangladesh is Siliguri Corridor, a small stretch of territory in the Indian state of West Bengal that lies between northern Bangladesh and southern Nepal. But we are united by a common want to emerge as the vaunted torchbearers of regional development in the near future. Thank you for watching us. We will reunite with you next Saturday, 7:30 in the morning. Until then, have a great week and namaste.
गतिसँग हैन सुरक्षासँग प्रतिस्पर्धा गरौँ। बाटो काट्दा जेब्रा क्रसिङको प्रयोग गरौँ। गाडी चालकहरूले पैदल यात्रीलाई प्राथमिकता दिउँ। रातो बत्ती बलेको बेला बाटो काट्ने गरौँ। जथाभावी बाटो काटेर दुर्घटनाको समाचार नबनौँ। आकाशे पुल प्रयोग गरी सभ्य नागरिकको परिचय दिउँ। दमकल एम्बुलेन्सलाई प्राथमिकता दिउँ। पैदल यात्रीले फुटपाथको प्रयोग गरौँ। ट्राफिक चिन्हको जानकारी हासिल गरौँ। गाडीमा झुन्डिएर यात्रा नगरौँ। अरूलाई बाधा पुग्ने गरी सवारी पार्क नगरौँ। मादक पदार्थ सेवन गरी सवारी नचलाऊ। सवारी चलाउँदा मोबाइलको प्रयोग नगरौँ। सवारी चलाउँदा अनिवार्य सिट बेल्टको प्रयोग गरौँ। साइरनवाला गाडीलाई प्राथमिकता दिउँ। ट्राफिक नियम पालना गरौँ।
अधिकार खोजौँ तर आफ्नो कर्तव्य पनि पालना गरौँ। युवा प्रेरित कार्यक्रम टेलिभिजन मार्फत प्रसारण गर्नु परेमा हामीलाई सम्पर्क गर्नुहोला। युटिभी सोज फोन नम्बर 47845355 बुद्धनगर काठमाडौँ।
स्वस्थ व्यक्तिले पनि अङ्गदान गर्न सक्दछ। अङ्गदान गरौँ, आफू पनि बचौँ, अरूलाई पनि बचाउँ। मृत्यु पश्चात गरिने अङ्गदान वीर हस्पिटल र आरोग्य प्रतिष्ठानमा उपलब्ध छ।
डिपार्टमेन्टल स्टोर, लत्ता कपडा, जुत्ता चप्पल, मोबाइल तथा इलेक्ट्रोनिक्स, सुन चाँदी, भाँडा बर्तन, पूजाका सामान, ब्यूटी पार्लर, जिउँदो माछा। अब सम्पूर्ण सामान एउटै छाना मुनि। हिमालयन सिटी सेन्टर, माछा पोखरी चौक, बालाजु।
स्टुडियो, एडिटिङ, टेलिभिजन कार्यक्रम निर्माण, डकुमेन्ट्री, प्रोफाइल वा विज्ञापन प्रसारण सामग्री निर्माण गर्नु परेमा हामीलाई सम्झनुहोस्। युथ ब्रोडकास्टिङ सर्भिस, बुद्धनगर काठमाडौँ। मोबाइल नम्बर 9840 21 34 38, 98510 82 240 र 98510 72 057।